This lake should not be here. By every rule of American suburban growth, the shoreline ahead of us should be rooftops, docks, and private lawns running straight down to the water. Instead, it is 230 acres of public woods and open shore on the edge of the Twin Cities, and anyone can walk it. The reason is a decision made back in 1957, one of the boldest park experiments in the country. Over the next hour, we are going to walk this shoreline in the last light of a Minnesota November and unpack how a hole left by a glacier became a farm, then nearly became a subdivision, and finally became this. This is Eagle Lake Regional Park, in the northwest metro of Minneapolis and St. Paul. The park sits exactly on a city line, straddling the border between Plymouth and Maple Grove, two of the largest suburbs in Minnesota. It is part of Three Rivers Park District, a regional system that manages more than 27,000 acres of parks, reserves, and trails across the western Twin Cities. The date is November 10th, the air is cold, and the sun is already low at 3 in the afternoon. Winter is close, and the park knows it. We start from the park entrance off Bass Lake Road and head for the water. The walk ahead is about 2.5 miles of shoreline, marsh edge, and bare November woods, just under an hour on foot. The park keeps it simple here, a mile of paved trail that links into the surrounding city trail systems, and another mile of unpaved path for hikers. In summer, this place hums with paddlers, anglers, and picnics. On a cold Friday afternoon in November, we have most of it to ourselves. To understand this lake, you have to picture this ground buried under ice. During the last glaciation, great lobes of the Laurentide ice sheet pushed down across Minnesota and ground the land flat. When the ice finally retreated around 10,000 years ago, it did not leave cleanly. Huge blocks of ice broke free, were buried in sand and gravel, and sat entombed in the ground as the glacier melted back. When those buried blocks finally melted, the ground above them collapsed into deep hollows that filled with water. Geologists call them Kettle lakes, and the Twin Cities are dotted with them. Eagle Lake is one of those glacial leftovers, and it is a substantial one. The lake spreads across roughly 290 acres, averaging around 10 feet deep with holes that drop to 34 feet. Under this calm surface swim largemouth bass, northern pike, crappie, bluegill, walleye, and even muskie. The park also takes in smaller Pike Lake, whose wooded shore we are walking now on the northeast side of the property. 2 lakes, 1 park, and all of it sitting in a dimple the ice left behind. The trees around us are a faint echo of something enormous. Before European settlement, this part of Minnesota lay near the edge of the big woods, a dense hardwood forest of oak, sugar maple, basswood, and elm. That forest covered on the order of 3,000 square miles in a broad band across south-central Minnesota. Settlers cut it for timber and cleared it for farms with astonishing speed. Today, only about 1% of the original big woods remains, surviving in scattered parks and preserves. Every mature maple and oak in this park is a descendant of that vanished forest. November strips this landscape down to its bones, and there is a strange beauty in it. The maples and basswoods went bare weeks ago, so the light pours all the way to the forest floor. Many of the oaks do the opposite, holding their dry copper leaves deep into winter, and they rattle in every gust of wind. The sun never climbs high in a Minnesota November, so even mid-afternoon feels like the golden hour. Photographers chase this kind of light. Hikers just get to walk through it. People have known this lake country far longer than any city has. This land lies within the traditional homelands of the Dakota people, whose world centered on the rivers and lakes of this region. In the middle of the 19th century, the federal government also relocated Winnebago people, known today as the Ho-Chunk, into the Maple Grove area from Wisconsin. Local histories record them as the first residents of what became this township. The lakes that drew them are the same lakes that anchor these parks today. The trail hugs the wetland edge here, weaving between open water and stands of cattail. Marsh, shore, and woodland trade places every few hundred steps, which is exactly what makes a walk like this feel longer and richer than the mileage suggests. These wetland fringes are working landscapes, filtering runoff and sheltering birds long after the showy season's end. Listen and you can hear dry cattails hiss against each other in the wind. In a few weeks, all of this will be locked under ice and silence. The recorded history of this township starts in 1851. That year, Louis Gervais and the famous frontier guide Pierre Bottineau staked the first claims in what would become Maple Grove. More families followed within a few years, drawn by lakes, timber, and rich soil. The township took its name from its great stands of maple, which early residents tapped for maple sugar. On the Plymouth side of the line, the same wave of settlement was turning lakeshore and woodland into farm country. Stand here and it is easy to imagine why farm families chose this ground. The land rolls gently, the soil is deep glacial till, and fresh water sits in every hollow. For about a century, the country around Eagle Lake was a patchwork of dairy farms, pastures, and small fields. Maple Grove stayed an agricultural township well into the 1950s. The city was out there somewhere to the southeast, but it was still a long wagon ride away. The park itself remembers that era directly. The golf center on the Maple Grove side of the park was built on the site of two old farmsteads. Where families once kept barns, woodlots, and pasture, there are now fairways and practice greens. It is a quiet reminder that almost nothing in this landscape is untouched. The parkland here was not preserved wilderness. It was working farmland that got a second life. That second life is the real story of this place. Look past the tree line and you can see the present pressing in, roof lines, water towers, the hum of Bass Lake Road. After the Second World War, the Twin Cities exploded outward, and farmland like this was being platted into subdivisions at a ferocious pace. Plymouth and Maple Grove would eventually grow into cities of tens of thousands of people. Every lake in the path of that growth faced the same fate, private shoreline, lot by lot forever. Which brings us to the people who saw it coming. In 1957, the Minnesota legislature created the Hennepin County Park Reserve District. Its founding law was blunt about the mission. The purpose was not neighborhood playgrounds, but the acquisition of large parks, wildlife sanctuaries and forest reserves, and public access to lakes, rivers, and streams. A year earlier, the Baker Family Foundation had donated the land that became Baker Park Reserve, helping spark the whole effort. The idea was radical for its time: buy big landscapes before the suburbs arrive, not after. This shoreline is what that idea looks like 70 years later. In its first decade, the young park district purchased nearly 21,000 acres, mostly farmland in the fast-growing suburbs of Hennepin County. Critics at the time saw empty fields and wondered why anyone would spend public money on them. The founders were betting on a future they would never fully see. Because the land was bought early, places like Eagle Lake kept their open shores while everything around them filled in. In 2005, the district took a new name, Three Rivers Park District. The name reflects its geography: parkland spread across the watersheds of three great rivers, the Mississippi, the Minnesota, and the Crow. Today, the system spans more than 27,000 acres of reserves, regional parks, and trail corridors. It serves millions of visits a year across the western Twin Cities. Eagle Lake Regional Park is one of its smaller properties, and in some ways one of its most typical, a working suburb wrapped around protected water. Out on the water, November is anything but quiet. Rafts of ducks gather on the open lake, feeding hard and resting between legs of a journey that spans the continent. Late-season flocks like these are a signature of Minnesota lakes in the weeks before freeze-up. Some of these birds hatched far to the north and are seeing this lake for the first time. For them, Eagle Lake is not a destination, it is a fuel stop. This lake sits under one of the great bird highways of the world, the Mississippi Flyway. Each fall, waterfowl pour down out of Canada and the prairie pothole country, following river systems south. In Minnesota, diving ducks typically arrive from mid-October, and tundra swans push through with a peak in the middle weeks of November. Thousands of swans famously stage on the Mississippi River in the southeast of the state. The birds ride the cold fronts, and they linger on lakes like this one until ice finally shuts the door. Everything out here is on a countdown. Once sustained cold arrives, a shallow lake like this can skin over with ice in a matter of days. The ducks know it, the muskrats know it, and the anglers waiting for the ice fishing season know it too. In deep winter, this same water becomes a white plain crossed by ski tracks and fishing shelters. Right now, in the second week of November, the lake is holding on to its last open water. It feels like walking through the final page of a chapter. Eagle Lake has not always been healthy. In 2008, the state of Minnesota placed it on the impaired waters list because summer algae blooms showed it was failing water quality standards. The problem was nutrients, phosphorus washing in from streets, lawns, and fields across the surrounding watershed. It is the classic ailment of a suburban lake, 1,000 small sources adding up to green water. A glacial basin that took 10,000 years to form was being degraded in a single human lifetime. The response is one of the good news stories of this walk. The city of Maple Grove, the local Lake Preservation Association, and the Shingle Creek Watershed Organization invested in cleaning up the water flowing into the lake. Year by year, the water quality improved remarkably. Eagle Lake drains through the Shingle Creek system toward the Mississippi River, so what happens here ripples far downstream. A healthier lake here means a slightly healthier river all the way south. Suburban lakes can recover, but only when someone decides they are worth it. The Park District works on land the same way. As early as the late 1960s, it began restoring wetlands, prairie, and woodland toward their condition before 19th century settlement. Since 1968, it has replanted roughly 1,600 acres of prairie, making it the largest manager of prairie habitat in the Twin Cities area. Crews use tree clearing, invasive weed control, and prescribed fire to bring back oak savanna and tallgrass. It is slow, generational work. The goal is not a museum, but a living version of what this country once was. Walks like this reward slow attention. Deer bed in these thickets and their trails stitch through the brush down to the water. Squirrels are frantic this time of year, burying the last of the acorn crop before the snow. Chickadees and woodpeckers work the bare trees, the year-round residents that stay after the migrants leave. None of this is rare or exotic, and that is exactly the point. An ordinary suburban afternoon, and the woods are still full of lives being lived. One summer resident deserves special mention, even though it is long gone by November. In 2006, the Park District put up purple martin houses in the open ground by the golf course here. Purple martins are North America's largest swallow, and east of the Rockies they nest almost entirely in housing that people provide. The gamble worked, and a thriving colony now returns to this park every summer. By this point in the year, those birds are in South America. Their empty apartments stand over the fairways like a promise that summer will come back. The golf center itself is a different kind of park experiment. Eagle Lake was developed as a youth-focused golf facility with a 9-hole course, a lighted pitch and putt layout, and a big practice range. The idea is to give kids and beginners a low-pressure place to learn a game that can feel exclusive. In winter, the golf grounds flip identity completely, grooming out ski trails and lit loops for night skiing. A fairway in July, a ski track in January. Minnesota parks have to live 2 lives. That winter life is worth describing because it is coming fast. Within weeks of this walk, this park grooms over 3.5 miles of cross-country ski trail. There are dedicated loops for snowshoeing, for ski joring, where a dog pulls a skier in harness, and even for winter fat tire biking. Lighted trails keep the season alive after the early sunsets. In a state where winter can run 5 months, a park that only works in summer is only half a park. Eagle Lake was built for the whole year. The paved trail under our feet does not end at the park boundary. It ties into the municipal trail networks of Plymouth and Maple Grove, which knit together schools, neighborhoods, and lakes. The Park District also runs regional trail corridors across the county, long greenways that let you ride from suburb to suburb without fighting traffic. Planners here treat trails like infrastructure, the same as roads and sewers. A park like this is not an island, it is a junction. Step back and Eagle Lake makes a bigger argument. The park reserve model says that a metro area should hold big pieces of itself open, permanently, before land prices and rooftops make it impossible. It says a kid in a subdivision deserves a wild shoreline within biking distance. Around the country, metro areas that skip this step now spend fortunes buying back tiny fragments. The Twin Cities, thanks to that 1957 law, are ringed with protected lakes, woods, and prairie. This ordinary-looking park is the dividend of extraordinary foresight. From here you can take in almost the whole story at once. A basin carved and filled by ice, ringed by trees descended from the big woods. A shoreline that was Dakota and Ho-Chunk country, then farmland, then very nearly rooftops. Water that got sick and was nursed back. Birds overhead running an ancient migration over a modern suburb. Not bad for a Friday afternoon walk 20 minutes from the interstate. If this walk leaves one lesson, it is that ordinary places carry deep time. You do not need mountains or canyons to stand inside 10,000 years of history. A Kettle lake in a suburb will do. Public land is a choice that someone made and keeps making, budget by budget and acre by acre. The people who bought this shore in the Park District's early years never saw the cities that now surround it. They planted a park the way you plant an oak, for someone else's afternoon. This was someone else's afternoon, and it was ours. By late afternoon in a Minnesota November, the light does not fade so much as tip over. The sun drops toward the tree line and the whole lake turns to hammered pewter and gold. The ducks raft up for the night, and the temperature falls with the sun. Somewhere north of here, real winter is already on the move. The park empties, the trail loops back toward the entrance, and the day closes the way November days do, early, cold, and beautiful. That is Eagle Lake Regional Park, 2 lakes, 2 cities, one long experiment in saving ordinary places. If this walk taught us anything, it is to look again at the park at the end of your own street because it probably has a story this deep too. Next time we will be somewhere new, walking another trail with another history underfoot. If you enjoyed the journey, you know what to do. Thank you for watching. Follow for more of the trails of the world.